Narcissistic women will turn into mothers and then pimp their own daughters out to older men. We have spoken about this in my last video where I used my own sister for an example about what happened and how narcissistic women actually aid in that entire process of telling their daughters how to actually sexually seduce an older man for money, and then even going as far as to telling her daughter that if she's getting children, that she needs to let the children be at her place so she can actually teach the children the same type of bullshit she taught her. It's really one sick, psychotic mess of, narcissism and narcissistic women pimping out their daughters to older men, and women like Jeradayah, she's funny, and that entire sprinkle gimmick, it's very funny. I gotta admit, practically in the real world, she's setting women up for failure and to be unalived by older men, because oftentimes these types of men that she's been talking about to get money, get all that stuff, provider, especially older men, are not usually the men that know how to take care of a family, know how to take care of women, but they just shower women with gifts, love bombing women with gifts for sex. That's actually what it's about. So Jeradayah telling women to be the most beautiful women out there and get the most oldest guy who can't even see and get his money actually means have sex with an older man. And she may say things like, oh, well, you should be not that sexually available. But everyone knows that if you're trying to seduce an older man for money, he will try to make his advances onto you. So when my sister got pimped out by, my parents for an older man, my mother was there to actually advise her daughter how to keep a man and how to behave in a sexual way and how to tolerate a sexual abuse in order to keep this man happy. So this man, keeps lingering around us. So in that particular sense, my father doesn't have to pay back the 8,000 euros that he owes that man. So that's how narcissistic women set their daughters up for failure. And you think this is cute when you're 20, you just left your teenage years, you're now 20, 22, 24, 25. You think it's all fun and games, and you think, oh, well, one child doesn't really matter, doesn't really hurt. But then he gets another child with you. And now it's like, okay, well, 2 children. But then he makes the 3rd one, and a 4th, and a 5th, and a 6th, and a 7th. And that's how narcissistic men trap women into abusive marriages and abusive relationships with children. Children aren't made because, out of love. Children are made for control, because it's more difficult for women to leave in abusive relationships when children are involved. If you have 1 child, okay, that's already tough. But if you have more than 3 children, now things are getting more difficult, because the judge will eventually come along, if you want to even get to the divorce papers, if that man even allows you to get a divorce paper, be in court, and will try to pen, okay, well, which parent can actually sustain the children. And it's oftentimes the narcissistic abuser who is the man who is, quote unquote, the earner and, the breadwinner of the house, because he's an older guy who's able to, profit off of this, because they're going to look at him like, well, he's a provider, he got a business, multiple businesses, he has more money than you. And she's going to look at the woman like, okay, but you're a living wreck, because that man has pushed you to the edge of being mentally unwell, a drug addict, or whatever you want to call it, the most crazy shit. So she's automatically going to lose the children in court. And this man, who is not above touching his own children, is going to profit off of this, because older men tend to be pedos. They tend to be like that. So he gets the children, and if one of the children are underage and, God forbid, female, you know what he's going to do, because he needs another supply. He needs another supply to keep doing what he does. That's why Jeradayah's advice about, scamming a man and locking it down with an older man for money and whatever. I'd be careful with that, because an older guy will try to trap you with money, and once he got you trapped, the moment he even, lures you in with all his luxurious lifestyles, he buys you clothes, he buys you, watches, accessories, your apartment, your house, your car, everything, whatever. If he's done with you because you age and you lose your, sex appeal, he is going to take all of it back. And don't think that, you said, oh, well, I filed for a divorce, that you own something. No, because everything is under his name. So there you are, battered and abused, your children are battered and abused, and now you're divorced, which lowers your rank on the dating scale. And not even that, you have multiple children, with this man, and they're all traumatized. And even if you were to get out to dating, you should really get into therapy, because most often you're actually traumatized and tend to even attract similar narcissistic men like the one before you. And even that, even if you would get out into the dating scene, no man is going to, be attracted to that mess if you're still in contact with this man for financial reasons, or dropping the child off because you can't actually sustain multiple children and a job and a study and whatnot, especially not when you're pushing forward. That's why the advice of Shara 7, scamming older men for money, has led to cases like P. Diddy, where a lot of young women get with older men for money and then eventually got pimped out by such men. They thought that they were playing such men, these men, like, oh, I'm playing this man for his money. Darling, if you come after a man with his money, he's going to fucking kill you. He's going to do that. So she's setting women up for failure. And not only that, I can testify this, what I've seen with my own eyes, is that my mother has given the same advice to her daughter, my second sister, and now she's actually tasting the fruits of that labor, and it tastes bitter and it's fucking corrupt. Trapped in a marriage, you're being beaten up, abused, battered, all these things, constantly being scolded at, abused, yelled, whatever. The children are being molested, all that kind of stuff, and you can't leave because you don't have anything going on for yourself. You don't know how to invest that money. He buys you luxurious gifts and the children luxurious gifts, yeah, but he touches you and your children too. So now you're in this position of like, I want to build my own life because life is going down and that kind of stuff, and you're waiting for this man to die because it's an older man. But the thing is, he dies at 70, but then you're 50. So even if you want to do something, it's oftentimes too late. And then you have to try to, reconnect with all the children who have left you because they've finally, found out and realized that you're like a shitty mother, and you put a man before your children for some luxurious bag. So now you have to undo the damage that you have done by first getting yourself into therapy, then try to reach out to your children to get them onto therapy and off the drugs, which is difficult because you just came out of rehab. So that advice about Shara 7, that women should go after older men for money and financial stability, is just a setup for women to get killed. You think you're winning, you think you're a player, you think you're all that, but he's playing you. In the long run, he's destroying you, your family, your entire lineage, and you don't want to get involved with that stuff. So that's why my opinion about Shara 7 related to what my parents did to my sister: stay far the fuck away from women who tell you to get on to older men.